Hey, it's Mimi from heymimi.com with a video about different tools you can use to make your own really heavyweight business cards. Before you click the back button because you think this is just like a scrapbooking tool video, I want to show you what I was able to do with some of these tools. Here's a really thick piece of leather, and I cut this out with a die that I'm going to show you. I also cut out this grunge board in a business card size, and that's pretty heavy duty. If you don't know what grunge board is by Tim Holtz, you probably recognize it as like gasket material. I cut that out with my Big Shot piece of leather. I cut out this with a Zizix die, clear acetate in pretty heavy duty material. You know, obviously you can punch out some pretty heavy duty cardboard with some of the things I'm going to show you. You can punch out a business card in fun foam if you want. Heavy duty chipboard. This is kind of a credit card size. It's actually ATC size. And this is some really heavy duty plastic. I cut this out of, you know, like those 3-ring binders that have the covers that are kind of bendy like this. That's what this is made from. Mainly I wanted to show you those things because when you see something like this Big Shot, don't let this fool you with its pink handle and flowers. This is no little girly scrapbooking tool. This is a serious crafting tool, and this is what I used to cut out a thick piece of leather like this. The dies that you put through these, it takes all kinds of dies, the skinny little wafer dies and stuff, but the thing that I use to cut out heavy duty stuff is always these thick dies. This one fell to the ground, but it still works just fine. But you can see it has a metal, kind of a metal cutting, and then when you put it through this thing, the foam depresses and the metal die pops up and cuts through pretty much anything you want to put through there. I'm going to show you what dies I've found that were useful for cutting shapes close to a business card size. Unfortunately, I have not found a die that is exactly a business card size, but I would say that this is pretty darn close. I'm also going to show you what manual punches I've found that will do the job, and some of them will surprise you. I know this looks like a toy, but this one is made by Marvi Yoshida, and I got it on Amazon. Some of the good ones of these punches can cut through some really pretty heavy-duty material. However, if you go too far, you can kind of mess it up, and you'll have to do a lot of tweaking to get it back in line. So don't go crazy with these. This is from this EK Success, and it's 2 inches in diameter. If you have kind of a girly product or blog, those are nice. These are from a manual punch. This is a Zizix die, which I think is really cute, and this is the Tim Holtz ATC die. Now that is bigger than a business card, but it's not a bad size. However, if you go too big, it's not going to fit in a, well, this one does actually. It's not going to fit in a regular business card size case. And then you run the risk of the person you gave it to not keeping it because it doesn't fit in their business card holder. Now you may ask, why not just order a business card? I definitely agree. Now, I have ordered business cards from a graphic designer, and that can cost a lot of money, but it's not that much. Let's say, you know, $100 is not that much for 1,000 business cards. However, I find myself wanting to change my business cards really often because I just go in so many different directions. And then, like right now, I'm really into posting stuff on Instagram, and these business cards, I didn't even know anything about Instagram. I thought that was just sharing pictures of your family. So, by the way, I'm Hey Mimi DIY on Instagram. So that's not even on this card, so I wish I could reprint these, but I have 500 of them. So I will compare the cards that I've made from Vistaprint and then another company that I really like called Overnight Prints. I'll make a whole nother video about those. So why not just use these? Well, for one thing, I have to place a whole nother order if I suddenly want to add Instagram or I suddenly want to just change the whole look. And actually what I really want now is Hey Mimi DIY information on the front and Hey Mimi Girl information on the back. So I'm just kind of all over the place. I find myself wanting to change my card quite often, and so I like the idea of being able to print up just a couple dozen of them, and then when I have new information, print up some more. Another reason to make your own business cards is when you're in a DIY kind of industry, I guess. I'm not in an industry, but When what you do is kind of a handcrafted sort of thing, I feel like it's appropriate to have a card that feels handcrafted. I'm all about do-it-yourself kind of stuff, so I really want my business card to be a DIY project. However, I don't want it to feel like a little piece of trash that somebody would just throw out. I want it to feel like something they should keep, at least until they get home to their computer and they can look up my blog or look me up on YouTube. And so I'm going to try to show you different tools that I've used that will help achieve that. Which ones are a good size, which ones can cut through some decent material, and what the different trade-offs are. So right now I'm just giving you an overview of some of the information you're going to find in this series, because if I try to do it all in this video, the video is going to be 45 minutes long and no one's going to watch that. I'll show you different dies, what I do and don't like about them. You can get some great shapes in these little wafer thin dies, but when it's closed off like this, you can't line it up as well. And it's definitely not going to cut through any leather, I can tell you that for sure. If you use these kind of dies and you find a shape you like, you can make a business card that is shaped like a flower if you're in a girly industry, or a round die. This die is the one that I found that came closest to cutting out a business card size. My perfect die would be one business card die that looks like this. So I can line it up just right. It's clear on the bottom. I can line it up to exactly what I want to cut out and put it through. Not only have I not found one in 2 inch by 3.5 inch that's clear, and I haven't even found a die that's 2 by 3 inches, which is really a shame. So here is this die right here, and here's how it lines up to a business card. It is 2 inches wide, but it's a little less than 3.5 inches long. So I think that's acceptable. So this is the best die so far that I've found that simulates a business card. And I used this to cut through this leather. Now if you were going to cut out 500 of them, I can't really say how long this would hold out. These are really super sturdy, but that's really putting it to the test. So I don't know if I just showed you all the things I've cut through with a die like this. I've cut through thick leather, grunge board material. You know what this is? It's from a soda box. Heavy duty plastic, obviously super heavy cardboard. It can easily cut through that. And it could cut through, let's say, I guess I would put maybe 5 sheets of heavy cardstock through. It would cut through that no problem. Like if it can cut through leather, it can cut through a stack of cardstock. And then also like this heavy plastic material from a 3-ring binder. It can cut through that. It cuts through fabric. The challenge with this is that you're not going to be able to line it up. So what I was able to do with that was, you know, I'm sure you've seen that example, I think his name is David Sasson or something, where he has a rubber stamp. So you could get a rubber stamp that either is giant like this and goes off the edge and make it look intentional, or you could get an actual rubber stamp size, business card size rubber stamp. Or you could print onto sticker paper, and you could cut this to 8.5 by 11 and put it through your printer, and then it's sticky on the other side. This stuff is like my secret weapon. I love this stuff. It's awesome. So it's 12 by 12. You could put it in your silhouette cameo, and I just love that craft paper look, especially when you're in a DIY type of field. Some of these would make a really cute business card. However, they're never exactly the right size. And this could be really cute. I got these for fairly cheap at Tuesday Morning. If you're in cooking or some other kind of clothing or jewelry type of industry, this is kind of cute, these little pear-shaped dies. And the perfect thing is you can line it up exactly where you want it on the paper. That way you could print first and then cut it out. However, it's not going to cut through heavy-duty cardboard. Heavy-duty cardstock, yes. And you would think that this company, Spellbinders, that's what these are, that you'd be able to just order a set like this that's exactly business card size, but good luck finding anyone who lists the exact dimensions of every single die. It's one of my pet peeves that they make it so difficult to find out what the actual dimensions are. So these are really great for the way you can line them up. However, they're not great when it comes to the thickness. And then also I have not found one that's exactly business card size. It probably exists, but they're just so unhelpful when it comes to telling you the dimensions that you're buying. So if you see something that says Ellison, Zizix, Biggs, Biggs XL, Zizix Originals, if you go to eBay You can find these really cheap, under $10 a piece, and you can ask them for dimensions. A lot of times they'll give you dimensions of the whole die, which is like 5.5 by 4 inches. And what you really want is the dimensions of the cutouts. Look for thick cuts, or Ellison thick cuts, or Zizix Bigs, Zizix Originals, Zizix Bigs XL. Bigs XL are the great big long ones, and I'll show you some of those. I'll show you in another video all of my dies that I think could be useful for business card size. I will talk about manual punches and which ones can do a pretty decent job of cutting through some heavy-duty cardstock, because the thing is, even though you want it to look handcrafted, you don't want it to look cheap. If it feels cheap and looks flimsy, it's not going to make a good first impression, and that's what a business card's all about. I kind of like it to look and feel like a pog, because those felt like something collectible. Even though they were just like a little round cardboard coin, kids hung on to them because they felt collectible. And that's kind of the idea of what I want to be able to do with a handmade card. I want it to have some creative style to it, but I don't want it to look flimsy and cheap. So here's the beauty of the hand punches, is that you can just line up exactly what you want and punch it out. And the same goes for if you have printed or rubber stamped something onto this. You can line it up exactly and punch it out, and you're not going to get it off center. So what you need to do, if you're interested in this topic and you want to see all of my examples, you need to subscribe. If you don't see a way to subscribe here, or if you click on this and it doesn't subscribe you, that's because you're probably on a mobile device and it's not supporting that annotation. So you can go below the video into the description section. There'll be a little, I think it's a little red button that says subscribe. So that way you'll be alerted to when I have a new installment of this series. Obviously, if you want to make some really heavy duty cards, the Big Shot is going to be the way to go. But then we still have to talk about aligning the text. Being able to align the text when you punch it out, that's a big topic too. But I have a whole bunch of dies to show you and a whole bunch of punches to show you that will help you achieve a unique look for your business card in something that feels like a quality card. So subscribe to Hey Mimi DIY to keep up on this series. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you later.